Alright, learning target 4, solve one variable inequalities and graph the solution on a number line. This is going to be actually really just pretty similar to solving equations with just a couple little extra things. So first of all, an inequality is just a statement that one quantity is less than or greater than another. So you've all seen less than and greater than signs before, or less than equal to, greater than equal to signs before. Um, and you may have seen them written in an inequality before with variables. If you haven't, this will be your little introduction to it. So we're just going to look at first some everyday phrases that you have probably heard or at least heard something similar to, and then describe how that sort of relates to an inequality. So if we look at the first one, at least 6 glasses, we're going to use our variable, we'll just say is g, and then if we have at least 6 glasses, then we could have more than that, but not less, or 6 itself. So to write that as an inequality, at least 6 glasses, we've got g for glasses is greater than or equal to 6. Okay, so we could have 7 glasses, and 7 is greater than equal to 6. We could have 20 glasses, and 20 is greater than equal to 6. Okay. Below 40 degrees, if we do d for degrees, it is below, so it is less than 40 degrees. And I can't put in equals because it doesn't say 40 degrees or below, it just says below 40 degrees. Okay. Fewer than 20 calories, so we'll go C. And if it's fewer than 20 calories, it cannot be 20, it has to be less than 20. So it cannot be equal to 20, must be strictly less than 20. At most $10. We'll go D for dollars. At most $10. That means that you may have $10, so this is going to be a less than equal to. But we can't have more than $10, so that's why it's a less than. And then between 35 degrees and 120 degrees, this is actually going to be kind of a two-part thing because we have two different qualifiers here. So we have between 35 and 120, so it's not less than 35. So if there's our D, it's not less than 35. So 35 degrees is, or 35 is less than the degrees. The degrees have to be more than 35, but the degrees are not more than 120. So D is between 35 degrees and 120 degrees. You could also write it like this. You could also say 120 is greater than the degrees, and the degrees are greater than 35. So it's an either or for those. Those mean the same thing, written two different ways. Okay? So to actually solve an inequality, it's very similar to just solving an equation. So you're still going to use the same exact steps as we've been talking about the last few days. So I'm just going to go about solving as if I were just solving for x if this was just an equal sign. And I get x is greater than equal to 3 halves. And the second part is to graph this on a number line. So if I just make my little number line here, right here is about 3 halves, about 1.5. So I'm going to make my dot here. And because this is greater than or equal to, it includes 1.5. So I'm going to fill it in because it includes 1.5. If this were just greater than 3 halves, this would be an open circle because it does not actually include 3 halves. But because this is greater than or equal to, I'm going to shade the circle in because it also includes that. Now if x is greater than, it points to the right, so x can be any value along here as well as 3/2. So that's how you graph that on a number line. In the second one, we have negative 8x is less than or equal to 56. So again, I'm going to divide by negative 8, x over on the left side, and negative 7 over on the right side. This is where it gets a little bit different with inequalities. If you divide by or multiply by a negative number, you need to flip the sign around. Okay? So since I divided by a negative 8 here, I need to flip this from being a less than equal to being a greater than or equal to. Okay? So since I divided by a negative 8, I flip the sign. Same deal if I, for some reason, had to multiply by a negative number, say I multiply both sides by negative 8, then I would flip the sign as well. So anytime you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip this sign. Okay? So graphing it on a number line, there are negative 6, 7, and 8. It is greater than negative or equal to negative 7. So I can shade in right there at negative 7. And then it is greater than, so I'm going to go to the right. Okay? In the next two, I'm going to change this one, and you should change this on your paper to just be a greater than, just so we can see, or a less than, not a less than equal to, just so we can see what that looks like. So here we have a 2x plus 5, and I'm going to change that to less than negative 3. So go ahead and solve it for x. And x is less than negative 4. At no point did I multiply or divide by a negative, so the sign never flipped around or changed or anything. Okay? So then on the number line, x is less than negative 4. Whoop. Less than negative 4, but not equal to. So I leave that circle open. Okay, so we changed it to a less than instead of a less than equal to. So keep that circle open because it doesn't include negative 4. X is strictly less than negative 4, not equal to. So leave that open. Okay, and in the last one, this might be a good chance for you if you want to try and practice one. You've seen 3 examples, so if you want to go ahead and try and practice this one on your own, pause the video, try it, and unpause if you are ready to see my solution, kind of check your work. If you don't think you're ready for a practice, that's fine. Just listen and you can follow me through this 4th example. So if you feel like pausing, go ahead. If not, here is the last example. So I'm going to go ahead and solve it for y. And I get y is greater than or equal to 7. So number line 6, 7, 8. By the way, side note, you'll probably be given your number line, like on a test or a checkup for sure. You'd be given a number line. and it would probably have values on it already. So as far as setting up the number line, you don't even necessarily need to worry about that, I would say. But if you do, only include the information that you need. There's no point in writing out values 1 through 5 over there on the left because you don't need them. Okay, so we get y is greater than equal to 7. So fill in the circle because it could be equal, and shade to the right. Your before class, you've got an inequality here. Solve the inequality negative 3a minus 7 is greater than 2.3 and graph your solution on a number line.